Okay, continuing on with the CD collection, we are still in the D's. Starting off with a band everyone knows, a band out of Florida. Uh, as I was getting prepared for this video, I realized I am actually missing their debut full length. I had it on CD. I don't know if it's been misplaced. Maybe it's in another part. Accidentally got filed away in another section of the shelving. I don't know. I don't know where it is. Kind of disappointed that it's not where it's supposed to be, but I am missing Scream Bloody Gore. But just getting into the Death Collection. So the first one that I have to show is Leprosy. Amazing release. I mean, I don't have to say too much about Death. If you're watching this video, you know who Death are. There we go. I'm not sure what pressing most of these are. This is a Scarecrow Century Media Scarecrow press. It has to be a ladder press on that one. I really don't know. This was one of the many. The next one is a Spiritual Healing. It is one of the many Relapse Records reissues that they've done. This was the one in the slipcase. I like the presentation on this, but Relapse Records is running Death reissues into the ground. They are milking that cash cow for everything that it's worth. The inside of the slipcase artwork is obviously still the same. Just the classic artwork there. This is the double disc edition. I think it has some like rehearsals. I will check the back in just a second. I haven't actually even listened to the second disc on this. It has some rehearsals, some instrumentals, and then what it calls joke and jam tracks. At some point, I'll probably check that out, but I've had this for quite some time and have never even listened to that second disc. When I want to hear spiritual healing, I just go straight for spiritual healing without the other stuff. I have way too much other stuff to listen to than focus on that second disc on that. Next up, we have Human from Death. This is probably one of my favorites that they've put out. This was released on Century Media, this particular version. It's in this digi. There we go. Century Media likes doing these weird fold out digi presentations. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Honestly, I'd rather just have a jewel case, but I've always preferred jewel cases to digipacks. There's the back on that. But as far as the album goes, it is one of my favorite Death releases. Followed up by probably my least favorite full length from the band. This is Individual Thought Patterns, and this is another one of those Relapse Records reissues. This one has two discs on it as well. It has a live performance. It's live in Germany in April of 1993 is the bonus disc on this. I mean, this is not a bad album by any means. I mean, I enjoy everything that this band has done, but as far as their full lengths go, it is probably it is my least favorite on their full length discography. There's the second disc, and then that back artwork with Chuck. But yeah, Relapse Records, it's ridiculous. Knock it off. There's the reissues over and over and over is just it's insane. I don't know, but I guess if people are going to keep buying it and spending their money that way, then Relapse is going to keep doing it. This is one that the CD case is a little cracked on, but I keep it in the CD case because I got such a steal on this release. This is another one of my favorite Death releases. This is Symbolic. And this is a 1995 pressing from Roadrunner, and it still has the price tag of what I paid. I don't know if you can make that out, but I paid $3.99 for this 1995 pressing. The disc itself is in immaculate shape. It was quite a steal for me to pick this one up. So even though the case has seen better days, I can't bring myself to change out that jewel case because it's not often that I find CDs in the wild, and especially for that kind of price for something like this. So definitely keeping it in that case just for my own little personal pick me up. And then we have an album that a lot of people don't really care for this band, and this is probably my favorite release from Death. So I know it's a very unpopular opinion for me to have that, but this is The Sound of Perseverance. This is their swan song, their final full length. Some people were very let down um, by this particular release, but I dig it. I don't. It's a little bit different than some of the other stuff, so maybe um, with them having started to head in this other direction, maybe that was off-putting for some people. But I dig this album. I'm kind of sad because I would have liked to hear where they were going to progress from there. So moving on, going from Florida to Germany, I believe. I believe this band's out. I just went blank. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they've got to be out of Germany. This is a Death Angel. I don't have very much from Death Angel, as you will see. And the ones that I have are probably some of the less desirable releases from Death Angel. And two of them are just disc only. This is Frolic Through the Park. This was in a big like a binder that I purchased many years ago that had a lot of stuff that was just in disc only. I got that one in there. That I mean, Frolic Through the Park is okay. It's just an EP, and I don't know. I just I don't know. Then we have Act 3 from Death Angel, and this is like one of the full length that you can find for next to nothing. It's not a bad release, but for some reason, this is one that I guess just didn't move very well. I'm not familiar. I'm not sure what particular pressing this particular one I have. I'm sure this has been. Well, I know that it's been repressed and reissued so many times, but there are some that you can find for next to nothing. And I also have Act 3. The disc actually looks different on this one, so it's from a different pressing. Just the disc, it was also in that binder, so I guess I got a spare if I ever need it. And then The Fall from Grace. I believe this was the live. Maybe Frolic Through the Park was the live, and this one was the EP. I don't really remember. I'm not that versed on Death Angel. It's not a band that I was ever just really obviously that far into. So moving on, moving back to Florida, we've got some old school death metal out of Panama City. I'm wanting to say this is Death Before Dying with Creatures of Opportunity. This came out maybe 2009, 2010 ish. I'm wanting to say uh, old school death metal. That Florida definite definite. You can tell that this is got that. I mean, they're from Panama, but it has that definite Tampa old school vibe going on in this. This is OSDM based on zombies. Very zombie, very horror themed death metal. It's pretty fun. I do dig this one and their follow up full length that I'm about to show quite a bit. I think I like the sophomore full length. This is the only they only have two albums out, so this one is probably my favorite. This one is entitled Sometimes Dead is Better, but just some killer. I don't want to say thrashy death metal, but there are like a few little thrash elements going on with this, as in most old school death metal. But it's fun. Both of those releases are quite a bit of fun, and when I'm putting on something like this, if I can get my head get the head banging, and I have a little bit of a smile on my face, then that's all I ask for, and that will definitely do the trick. So, killer couple of albums there. Next up, we have a uh, thrashy death metal, more thrashy death metal out of Germany. When this album came out last year, I was surprised that not that many people were even talking about it. It is a killer release, and the fact that so many people heard it and just kind of overlooked it, especially some that are some of these big advocates of death metal. the fact that they just kind of ignored this kind of made me question where some of these people's intentions were as far as the releases that they highlight. This is Death Courier. This was released on Transcending Obscurity, and this one is entitled Necrotic Verses. Man, this is a killer release. I bought this in a bundle deal with another album, so this one was kind of a surprise for me, and I was blown away by this. And I don't know, I don't understand why it was so ignored last year, because it is a killer release. If you're into thrashy death, check out Death Courier, because I'm thinking some of you probably missed out on this just because it didn't get the attention that it actually warranted for last year. So definitely check out Death Courier. Next up, we have Death Curse. This is some more thrashy death metal out of Missouri here in the U.S. And this one, I think, is self-titled. Pretty good, more horror themed death metal, as you can obviously tell with that full on Jason artwork going there, and on the disc you can tell that they are big Friday the 13th advocates in this band. But this one's fun as well. I haven't listened to it in a little bit, but another just great album off of that Razorback Records. I know that they have a pretty good back discography of that kind of thrashy death, so good stuff there. This is one that I got for like $1 from Hell's Headbangers. I expected this to be death metal, and it absolutely was not. This is doom metal I think they're out of Baltimore, and this is much better than what I expected just from the artwork and all that. This is a Death Mask with Exhumation. Let me try that again. Exhumation. And just judging from the artwork, the band name, and everything, I was expecting death metal. When I saw that it was on Shadow Kingdom Records, I should have known better, but ignorantly I did not. And it's pretty fun, doom metal. I guess that's a bit of a oxymoron. Is that the word that I'm looking for? Saying fun doom metal. It's a fun listen. I mean, it is doomy, but it completely caught me off guard when I listened to it. It was not what I expected, but it definitely was worth the price of admission for that album. You can still find that release for next to nothing. It's just a compilation, and I think it's the only thing that Death Mask has put out. It's just a compilation of like demo and demo work and that type of stuff. Next up, we have a band, I believe they're out of Sweden. They are kind of crust punk, horror punk, fused with metal. This is the only release from them that I own, and I enjoyed this one quite a bit. And I don't know, I haven't sought out any more of their material for one reason or another. This is Death Wolf with 2 Black Armored Death. And I mean, it's just crusty, fun, good stuff. I don't know. Take a shot every time I say fun in this video. Apparently, I guess that's the word for the day. I bought this, and I ended up buying a shirt for this album, and then I didn't check out any of their other material. It's kind of, I don't know. I need to definitely get back on that, and because I don't even know how much they have out now. Just kind of moved on and left that one where it was, but now I kind of want to set it to the side and give it a listen here pretty soon, because it's been a little bit since I've listened to that one. Next up, we have some blackened death metal. I don't think this band ever even put out a full length. This is a compilation of some of the earlier, I think their earliest EP and demo. This is Death God Messiah with Abomination Chants from Beyond the Grave. And this is killer material. I wish they had released a full length. I'm not even sure if the band is still active, but this was the last bit of material that they put out. And it's just some nasty, hateful, blistering blackened death metal. And I would love to hear some more from this project, but unfortunately that's all that we have. Next up is a black metal band out of France that probably would even hate that I have their material. Well, not yet. I skipped them. I skipped this band. We have a band off of Black Lion Records. This is Dismarch or Death March with Dismember. There we go. This is an EP that came out in 2017. I didn't realize it had been out that long. This is a more death metal. Lots of death metal in this update. This is kind of melodic, thrashy death metal. I forget where this band is out of. I think the Netherlands. I was looking to see if I could get a hint from the digipack, but I couldn't. I believe they're from the Netherlands. I think that's some Dutch death metal, and it's early. Give me a break. It's early. It is 5 a.m. right now as I'm recording this. Next up, this is the band out of France that would probably hate me owning their material. I don't seem like the type they like listening to theirs. I only have a couple of EPs and one full length, but it's kind of the meat and potatoes for me personally of their material. It's some of their better work. This is Deathspell Omega. This is the EP Veritas Diabli Manet in Aeternum, chaining the Catechin. Yeah, mouthful. Amazing kind of avant-garde black metal. This may be my favorite release that they put out. This and the other EP that I will show are like neck and neck as far as two. I mean, they're both amazing releases, but there we go. I have the full length. This is Paracletus. This was released on Season of Mist. And I kind of said that I don't know. I don't know these guys personally. That I guess that wasn't a fair statement for me to say that they probably wouldn't like people like me, but it is what it is. And then we have Drought, and this is if the other EP I showed isn't my favorite, then this one definitely is. Those two kind of go neck and neck for me as far as my favorite material from Deathspell Omega. But this is absolutely essential. I think if you're into black metal, avant-garde black metal, this is like an essential own, something that I must have in the collection. So moving on, we got some thrash metal. Austria, I'm thinking. This is Deathstorm with Reaping What Is Left. This one kind of caught me off guard with how much I enjoyed this. I got this from Paragon, and I thought this was the death metal band Deathstorm when I picked this up, and it was a different Deathstorm and pretty intense thrash metal. Dare I say dad thrash? Is that a thing? Like it has that older thrash feel going on in this, but I dug it quite a bit. Next up, we have some more blackened death metal. This may be the only release that this band ever put out as well. This is Debauchery with Dead Scream Symphony. And I don't remember just a ton about this. I got this from Redstream several years ago. I know that I mean, it's a killer release. It's pretty good black and death metal, but as far as like the band goes, I don't know just too much about them. This was released through Bloodfire Death Records, and it may be the only release. In my head, I'm saying that it's the only release, but it's not a band that I've kind of visited as far as revisited, I guess, in quite some time. So. Next up, we have some brutal death metal out of North Carolina. This is the only album that they ever released, and it is an amazing release. If you're into brutal death metal and you haven't heard this one, I definitely recommend you kind of backtrack and pick this one up. It came out in 2003. This is Debodified with Utopia in the Eyes of a Beast. And it seemed like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, this album kind of got dug back up. Somebody kind of rediscovered this. Comatose, maybe Comatose did a reissue or something. I'm not sure, but I saw it start making the rounds again, and I was kind of thrilled about that just because of what a stellar release this actually is. If you're into brutal death metal and you haven't heard this, you're definitely doing yourself a disservice, and I highly recommend that you go check out Debodified. Next up, we have some more brutal death. Apparently, this band's out of Indonesia. I don't know, maybe did you guys know that Indonesia does brutal death? That is a joke. This is Decapitate Hatred with Birth of Abomination. There are about 3 brutal death metal bands for every person in Indonesia, and this is one that kind of stands out for me. Some of that stuff starts sounding so similar that, I mean, it's just like carbon copies of each other. But this is one that I like. That kind of stood out to me. It is, I think they're only full length, but it is a pretty solid release as well. Next up, all 5 of these are going to be from the same band. The first 2 are kind of must-owns for me personally from this band. This is Decapitated, kind of technical death metal, technical thrashy death metal out of Poland. This is their debut full-length, Winds of Creation. This jewel case has seen a few better days, but I don't want to change it out because it is the one that has the bonus DVD. This album was originally released, I think, in 2000, and this reissues from 2007. So, I mean, it's 14 years old as far as the case goes, and it's gotten some good play. I don't even want to flip it over to show the DVD disc because this inside piece is kind of broke, and I'm afraid they'll fall out. But probably my favorite Decapitated release as a whole. If it's not that one, then it's this one. This is Nihility by Decapitated, and that is their first 2 releases. And for me, those are the 2 must-own full lengths from this band. I didn't show that very long. Got a little excited there. They're a band that kind of fell out of grace a little bit. I don't feel like it was through fault of their own. I feel like that those allegations against them weren't warranted, but I wasn't there. So next up is one that, out of their latter several albums, at least the last 3, probably my favorite out of the last 3. This is Carnival is Forever. Some people don't feel the same way about this album that I do, but I put this one up on par with their earlier material. Yeah, the sound is a bit different, but as far as Decapitated material goes, I think this and the 2 that I've just previously showed are the 3 that I would put in my collection if I didn't have any other material from them. And then we have Blood Mantra. This one was pretty good. Not quite as good as the others that I've shown. Probably, as far as the ones that I own the least, it's gotten the least amount of playtime from me personally. And then we're going to finish it up with Anticult. I like this one a bit more than Blood Mantra, but it hasn't gotten the amount of playtime that I think it probably deserves. This came out in 2017, so it was kind of right in the upstart of me getting like full-fledged into this channel, and I had so much stuff coming in all at once. There are some things that just kind of got overlooked and not given the amount of attention that they probably deserved, and this is probably one of those albums because I do enjoy it. I just don't think I've given it a proper shake. But that's all for this one. I've taken enough of your time. I will try to keep these coming as I kind of mix in other videos as well. It's all for today. Stay classy, and I'll see y'all soon. I promise.